right. So again, I believe these are first to five, if I'm not mistaken, given the first to 15 difference. Already a little bit of a misdrop on AOIBOU's board, but we can also see they definitely seem to be going quite quickly without too much of an issue. BACCHESS, I think, just went for regular TKI into continuing with the dog clears, and it seems to worked out pretty nicely. All right, and I will say it is very okay. So AOIBOU, yeah, has not had to panic zone to survive all of that, which is a very surprising thing to notice, as I would have definitely expected something more of that caliber. But AOIBOU able to keep it cool, calm, and collected, and that's going to be a fantastic zone. Actually, tops out a tiny bit early. I think that might have been a misdrop of the Z, as they seem to be kind of building up over the center well. And botches with the 67 Ultimatress. However, AOIBOU is still unfazed and actually going to go for a quarter zone strat to try and push botches up a little bit early into phase two. Recognizes they're a little bit behind in points and is more than comfortable making sure that phase three transition happens before either player gets to full zone meter. And AOIBOU and BACCHESS, honestly, both very close to getting that phase three transition. BACCHESS does have the full zone meter, and it's not looking great, but they're going to use it first. So that does allow AOIBOU to actually hit phase three before they go into their zone, but they're able to have that full zone meter and a essentially clean board state. I think 40 some there from that zone. AOIBOU 46 in response, and that's essentially just going to be that phase two garbage turning into phase three for BACCHESS board. And this is a very nice spot for AOIBOU to be in. BACCHESS having to rely on a lot of these down stacks in order to survive this particular interaction. But again, AOIBOU having the STSD set up, waiting on some more T pieces. They're a little bit late in the queue. But even after all is said and done, there's kind of like a mini 3-wide at the bottom that they're easily able to add additional damage to, and BACCHESS, unfortunately, not able to find anything worthwhile with that 3/4 zone to use. And so AOIBOU going to be taking game one. All right, it looks like BACCHESS, I think, going for TD opener. I'm not sure if there was a misdrop on the side or if that's just a different way of completing the overall TD shape. I think that's probably the latter. Running a little bit low on the T pieces, but able to find a way to get the T-spin single into the Tetris over on the side, making sure to open up that well. You can definitely see AOIBOU is trying to use the offensive speed advantage as much as possible. However, BACCHESS, pretty good center well opportunity and just going to send that zone really, really quickly. Able to get 19 lines off of it, so that's 50 damage. AOIBOU going to have to keep an eye. Oh, trying to pull vault. Okay, gets the piece over. Oh, I think the 20 is in the cards. Unfortunately, the curb is not. And spent so much time trying to look for it that BACCHESS has already built up a quarter zone of their own. It isn't too much in the lead in terms of points. And AOIBOU, honestly, with a really nice spike, goes all the way down, pushes BACCHESS up to near fatal levels on the stack, forces the T-spin single to occur early, and AOIBOU immediately firing with that full zone charge. Does encourage BACCHESS to use it a little bit more aggressively as well, but AOIBOU didn't hit phase three with that second zone. I don't know if BACCHESS will either. Able to get the 20, but that is the phase three. And AOIBOU, a couple of misdrops over on that left-hand side. But really nice floating T-spin double to keep up that offensive pressure. And BACCHESS now having a couple of chain reactions occur on the right side. Really easy to clean up, but still not a position you want to be in for phase three. Especially with AOIBOU having the general speed advantage, it's going to make BACCHESS' work of playing efficient through phase three that much more important. And honestly, with a really good down stack, AOIBOU, though, this is a really strong phase three zone. Going to take as many T-spins as possible, using a T-spin triple to things clean, and actually donating on top of the 55 zone attack. Oh, that eye misdrop might be fatal. Not enough room to get that stack any lower. And yeah, the extra damage from those T-spins, honestly, not even gonna, just gonna be the icing on the cake for that round too. And I mean, yeah, the damage that AOIBOU is putting out is, almost one attack piece and still outspeeding botches at this point, making that job, again, really insanely difficult. And well, botches has to get at least some kind of a quarter zone. There's a lot happening on the board right now. AOIBOU trying to go for the DT follow-up, almost misses the kick that's necessary to complete the setup. Still donating T-spins on top of the already tall stack. Kind of just running out of ways to cleanly donate. Then eventually we'll see the last T-spin triple. It looks like it. Almost kind of converting into a 4-wide, 3-wide stack. Have to take a triple, but able to still keep things clean. I think looking to make a T-spin triple tower to convert that well back over to column 8. And they're able to do so, but the stack is already really high up and in a dangerous spot. So I don't know how efficient the rest of this zone is going to be, but it's going to be quite a sight to behold. And I think AOIBOU's trying to see if there's a way to get that 20. Unfortunately, there is not. BACCHESS trying to get as much of an advantage within the score department as they can, but AOIBOU still holds the crown there, 47,000 points. However, it might not be in AOIBOU's interest anymore to trigger it into phase 3 if BACCHESS has a better stack and more zone meter to work with. Ooh, I think AOIBOU might wanted that to be the T-spin triple. I don't know if that's an effort to try and clean things up or recover that spin tower. BACCHESS right now only has to cover about 10 lines or so, and so that's going to be about 30 that we're going to expect to see from AOIBOU. Phase 3 has not been triggered, though, so whoever ends up receiving garbage, not going to be... Oh, so close to the curb there. 47 lines, about perfectly neutralizes right as we hit the phase 3 bell. And what a prophecy on the T-spin triple from AOIBOU. Recognizing exactly where they wanted that to happen and saying, what are the pieces I need to make sure that they're in the right position at the right time? All right, and BACCHESS getting pushed up a lot for phase 3. They're going to have to spend, I think, a 3-quarter zone. And in the meantime, only about 16 lines. AOIBOU has almost the kind of SDPC spin, C-spin. A little bit greedy on the top, but able to at least continue through. No, but misdrops right on the crucial T-spin triple, so that C-spin is not really going to get to see a lot of use. Only needs to counter about 20 or so, 33 lines. It's about a full garbage to BACCHESS with the extra follow-up damage. A really nice combo there from BACCHESS. I don't know if it's long enough to really start putting in the effort, but it is okay. Just barely getting the spin in time. A lot of doubles involved in this skimming process, which I guess is good for the damage for BACCHESS, but I don't know if it's really intuitive for continuing this long combo. There we go. We see it get to a little bit of a higher number and definitely reach a little bit more mileage. AOIBOU, though, with... Okay, there's a couple of misdrops, but honestly, it's just trying to keep as many T-spin doubles going off as fast as possible. And the only thing that's going to shut that off is misdrops. And to be completely frank, it's not looking the best. Obviously, advantage is still heavily in AOIBOU's favor. BACCHESS with the 9-line zone, but AOIBOU, even just on the bonus of a deck of Hexatris alone, going to counter most, if not the entire thing, so any of that damage is just extra insult to injury. BACCHESS is fighting desperately to keep this run alive. Okay, there's a couple of doubles with room for the combo. T-spin single on combo, just any little bit that helps. Oh, is going to get pressured to zone before that zone meter is at full. And AOIBOU has seemingly refound their rhythm to the continuous T-spin double factory. But at the moment, BACCHESS has really done a number in recovering the stack. Unfortunately, a little bit greedy play. Is not able to get down to everything in that clean stack in time. AOIBOU right now has an entire zone meter's worth of advantage. And BACCHESS, I don't know if this is kind of more of a last resort or just double checking, but is going to be opting for the 4 wide as a defensive position. It's going to have to get to 31 lines. BACCHESS will definitely need to skim through a little bit more than the overall 4 wide. And unfortunately, there is not a good option available for BACCHESS. So after that 5-minute gauntlet, AOIBOU able to close it out from the advantage sheet going into phase 3. And is only 2 points away from a clean sweep. And again, because we mentioned earlier that only 3 people in this pool, so as long as you get the, like, your 1 win for the set, it's a huge sigh of relief in that it's a very, very low chance of being eliminated, and especially in AOIBOU's case. For a 5-0 sweep, I would say that that's not guaranteed unless every other set is also a sweep, and then it just comes down to time. So I think the only thing for, I mean, if obviously it's still asking a lot of AOIBOU to try and full sweep. Again, BACCHESS is still not making this easy for them, but okay, that's a little bit of a high up on the center well. Is able to find a way to combo into the Tetris to get a little bit of that extra garbage. And oh, we got 2 O pieces. Curb is likely. There's the curb twist from BACCHESS. The 69 zone attack. AOIBOU, knowing that that's a lot of garbage to handle, gets the 60 ultimate twist in response, and it's a perfectly neutral interaction. And with a hefty amount of points, we are into phase 2. AOIBOU still with a, I'd say, slight advantage given that amount of a point deficit, because they can kind of just play for Tetrises for the remainder in phase 2 if they really want to get that zone meter up. But I think they're really going for big. I think they're trying to force a top out for BACCHESS. Is not even concerned about the phase 3 bell, just continuing these clean T-spin doubles on back-to-back. All right, we do see the eyepiece misdrop at a not-so-timely fashion, and BACCHESS recognizing that this might be their opportunity to try and put AOIBOU on the back foot. AOIBOU able to get 2 quick T-spin doubles right into the zone, only a 39 Perfectress from BACCHESS, and given how strong that zone initially started, 48 on the Perfectress from AOIBOU, about half of a board's worth of garbage to BACCHESS. Not a lot of zone meter to follow this up with. It's going to be a really difficult phase 3 once again for BACCHESS if they want to grab another win, but that misdrop is probably going to be fatal this high up on the board. AOIBOU is a little bit inconsistent. BACCHESS might find a way out, but this is going to be extremely difficult in the long run. You can see, yeah, that 3/4 zone going to have to get burned a little bit earlier than BACCHESS might have liked. And the immediate fractal there from AOIBOU, even though that's, I think, only a 3/4 zone from themselves, they only need to counter about 10 lines, so we're going to see, well, now about 20. So just over a full board for BACCHESS, but that is so much to deal with when you don't have a zone meter to work with, and the garbage is this cheesy. And with that big of an attack spike, BACCHESS is able to get the O piece, but that's not really anything conducive there. And AOIBOU taking 4 games straight, and I think the 4th straight game where their attack per minute has been more than BACCHESS' own drops per minute, is a very tough spot for BACCHESS to play from when your opponent is essentially sending you 1 line of garbage for every piece that you put on your matrix. Again, that kind of performance can be done, but it is excruciatingly difficult. All right, and BACCHESS, a little bit of center well, able to combo into both of the Tetrises, I believe. Although one of them, I think, might have turned into a triple. And AOIBOU has to pop that early zone. This could be a huge opportunity for BACCHESS to find a really strong attack. Do have a little bit of the O piece. I don't want to call it a misdrop, as it is still pretty easy to work around. 14 lines there from BACCHESS. Things doing pretty clean, but recognizes there's not a lot of O pieces. And almost gets the SP spin. I think had a little bit of a mishold there. But still, 49 attack out of that zone. It forces AOIBOU to kind of have to play around this extremely awkward center well. Able to get a lot of lines for it, but 44 from AOIBOU. And honestly, now BACCHESS is not in a terribly great spot. Has to rely on a lot of that clean garbage to regain some footing. Although again, as I mentioned, that BACCHESS is still able to clean things up extremely fast, using that IRS to avoid a premature top out, and going to be trying a bit of an early zone for phase 2. hopefully to prevent AOIBOU from getting any strong momentum going into phase 3. See, BACCHESS is actually dangerously close to an all clear. Unfortunately, it's not in the cards. AOIBOU, 18 or so lines up the board, not able to get the 20, but does trigger phase 3. BACCHESS and AOIBOU, very little garbage on the board. BACCHESS is greeting for a T spin, but that T is too late in queue. Gonna have to rely on a little bit of that weaker combo garbage, which unfortunately is going to allow AOIBOU a lot of momentum in the down stack, but BACCHESS as well, I think almost a double-digit combo that AOIBOU essentially has to match in order to put BACCHESS back on the back foot. AOIBOU has the STSD on the bottom of the stack. BACCHESS looking to try and get through this zone rather quickly. 35 Deca Hexatris. It's not a full border garbage right now for AOIBOU. They're going to have to counter just above 20, 25 lines or so. Very smart donated plays there. Not able to get the full counter off in zone. Oh, but the Z-piece misdrop, and that cuts off the I-skim. That is a extremely poor spot to be in. Has to rely on yet another zone in order to survive that interaction. And BACCHESS, with enough of a man-made stack that they get 2 of their own T-spent doubles, but another couple of bad misdrops over on the side. This is BACCHESS's essentially match point life, and unfortunately, not enough zone meter able to get charged again. And for the 5th game in a row, AOIBOU makes it 9